Welcome to the Patterson Library Connection. In this episode of our podcast, we'll share good news and library happenings, talk to fun and interesting guests, and connect with our Patterson community. I'm Lillie, the Marketing and Program Director here at the library. Today, I'm thrilled to be joined by two very special guests from the Putnam Arts Council, Executive Director Joyce Picone and Regrants Coordinator Mary Beth Becker. The Putnam Arts Council has been at the heart of supporting and celebrating the arts in our community for decades. Today, we'll talk about the Putnam Arts Council's history, their important role in providing arts-related opportunities across the county, and their upcoming events. Thanks for joining us. Now let's get started. Hi, Adam.
Hey, Lillie.
So I wanted to tell you something that happened last week.
Oh, yeah?
I was away in Savannah, and I got a call from someone in California, and they were looking for advice on how to start their own tech help session in their library because they had heard about you in Patterson and your tech help sessions.
The news has spread that far to the West Coast, or bi-coastal tech support known.
I'm wondering if he heard us on the podcast talk about it. I'm not sure.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, so I have to get in touch with him. But as you know, we get so much positive feedback. But it was really great to hear because we're really working on bringing in more resources as a drop-in help session, similar to yours. You know, we already have Maggie Flynn, who does Medicare help.
That's right.
She helps hundreds of people. Honestly, she's terrific.
Is super important. And I mean, the two of them combined, these days you really need to have tech skills in order to go to the doctor. It's crazy, yeah.
And she just answers so many questions. So it's caught on. This whole drop-in kind of help has really caught on, and you've really been at the forefront of that. So it's interesting, but it's kind of, made us look into other agencies and resources. So the MISN, New York State Insurance Marketplace, is going to do sessions, college planning help, the veteran help with Richard Buck, who is an incredible advocate.
That's right. He was on our podcast.
Yeah, he's going to be doing that as well, where he'll be coming in not only for programs, but to do a drop-in helps and help vets connect with resources and show them how to fill out applications and documents that they need and really where to go with that. So kudos to you for getting this off the ground and really starting something fantastic.
I'm humbled, and I'll have to say that, kudos back at you for getting it all together and inviting me to even look into it. So it's really honor and pleasure, and, the little bits that we can do to help people, it's really meaningful. And I think they appreciate it. And the gentleman out in California, happy to talk to you maybe on our email or something like that. And,
he gave us his information. We will do that. We'll reach out and give him a shout.
Let's bring it to California. Here we go.
There we go.
Well, that's really good news. And I hear there might be some more good news.
Yes, I'm really excited about this. So we are nearing the end of our renovation project at the library, and we will be open by mid-October. It looks amazing. We have a new color scheme, new carpets, lighting, and so much more, and we really can't wait for everyone to see the changes. And I have to tell you, I cannot wait to get back to normal. I really want in-house programming again, and while we've kept programming going and done a lot of off-site things and outdoor things, it will really be nice to have operations back to normal. But we've been busy, so we haven't missed a beat, but it'll be nice for everyone to be able to come in and see the changes and return to programming as normal. So that'll happen in mid-October. And while we're in October, of course, it's Halloween time. So we have a great, fantastic family event coming up on Saturday, October 25th. It's the Spooktacular Great Give Back event. It'll be a wonderful day of Halloween fun with music, contests, donuts, games, and so much more. And Eric Peterson and Peterson's Patterson Greenhouses will once again donate pumpkins for our spooky pumpkin patch in the garden, where families will come in and get a free pumpkin. And if you get in before supplies are done, you can take your pumpkin and enter it into our best pumpkin contest on the day of the event. The winner will receive a fantastic family fun pack complete with gift certificates to great local activities. We'll have a grand costume parade, so get creative. Come up with a family costume, and the best one wins a great prize. There'll be a family concert with Glenn Rothel and delicious donuts from the Grounds Donut House food truck. There'll be games and all kinds of fun stuff, so you don't want to miss it. But it is part of our great Give Back event, and we'll be collecting non-perishable food items to kick off the Patterson Food Pantry Holiday Food Drive. So be sure to check out our website for more information. And so you know, you can always visit our website at pattersonlibrary.org to sign up for our monthly e-newsletter so you can always know what's going on and to register for great programs for adults and kids. And that's our good news. So now I want to introduce our special guest, Executive Director Joyce Picone and Regrants Coordinator Mary Beth Becker.
Hi there. Thank you. We're thrilled to be with you today.
Well, I'm thrilled to have you guys here. So, Joyce, the Putnam Arts Council has a long history in Putnam County, and yet many of our listeners may not be familiar with it. Can you share a little bit about its history and how it has grown into the organization it is today?
Sure. I'd be happy to do that. It began with Belle Levine, who was a neighbor, owned this property. She wasn't actually a neighbor. She owned this property as well as some other houses on this estate, and she was an artist. And she decided to invite her friends, start painting here. That grew into outdoor exhibitions, some down what is now the Chamber Park. Then that led to classes. And then when she passed away, her husband donated the space to remain an art center, the Belle Levine Art Center, named after her. And so originally we were just an art center solely, where we did programs, exhibitions, as other art centers do, and classes. And then later on we became a council, which is a service provider, and we're the only service provider in Putnam County. We get funds from the state and the county to disseminate out to other groups, such as Patterson Library, some of the other libraries. And this year we gave out 22 grants or so to, Mary Beth will talk a little bit about that, but to Shakespeare and to Brewster Theater Company and to Putnam Chorale, just to name a few. So, and before that, in the 1800s, this was a dairy farm.
Oh, wow.
The late 1800s. And prior to Nat Levine living here, Bud Fisher, who is the creator of the cartoon Mutt and Jeff, the comic, and it's actually a syndicated comic through the Chicago Tribune. If you're a little older, you'll know of Mutt and Jeff, but it was a pretty famous cartoon. So he lived on this space, and this was where we are was his studio.
Oh, how interesting.
Prior to that, it was a barn for cows. So it did have some nice evolution. So we've been incorporated by the New York State Department of Education since 1963. And we've been here, all that time, doing all these things, open to the public, serving artists, and providing a destination for the community and for artists to connect with each other, which now more than ever is important, to have an actual live connection.
Sure.
So all of our receptions are free and open to the public. Our classes are affordable, and some of them are free. They're for teens, they're for kids, they're for adults. They're on days, afternoons, after school, and weekends, and evenings. So there's really something for everyone here, I believe. And as a council, we're an advocate for the arts, and we do a marketing program for the arts throughout the county. And we are a voice for the arts and community planning. And we fund other organizations as I began.
What are some of the milestones or accomplishments you're most proud of from the Putnam Arts Council's journey?
Well, I think becoming a council was really quite an accomplishment. It preceded me. I'm here 37 years, but it was earlier than that, believe it or not. And that enabled us to help other organizations countywide to develop and grow. When we first started, there was Garrison on the west side and the Putnam Arts Council on the east side, and pretty much that was it. And then, with our help and with the help of funding, and support, we give technical support too, and institutional support, the place has flourished. So I'm very proud of that, and I'm also very proud of the exhibition program that we have. This year we had 12 shows, and it was for all different ages, for people with all different abilities, for everyone. We have kids, we have adults, we have special needs children and adults who participate. And also our classes are flourishing. We have something for everyone there too. So if I could think of one particular thing, I'm also very happy that we have an elevator.
Yeah, that's huge.
That was on my to-do list, and finally got that done after 35 years.
Well, it is a welcome addition to the building. As you know, we talked about it earlier.
Yes.
We did need one in the past, and it wasn't available, so it is nice to have access like that.
And our grants have really grown. I know Mary Beth is going to talk to you a little bit about that and the influence we have and the deadlines coming up for applications.
My last guest on the podcast was County Executive Kevin Byrne, and I discussed with him the significant impact the Putnam Arts Council grants have on our library and community. And I know you have such an impact on everyone, and you really do help nurture the arts on a much broader scale. Why do you feel it's so important to have an organization like yours supporting and connecting artists, educators, and audiences across the county?
Well, I think otherwise we sort of are segmented, particularly with the Taconic as a divide, the East-West community, so to speak. And I just think that we are a resource for everyone. And we also connect you to each other. And we know many of you, if not all of you, through our regrant program, or perhaps we've employed people to teach or to do a demonstration. And I think we just have the pulse of the community and the government. We're sort of the connector between those different areas, segments of Putnam County.
I know for us how invaluable the grant funding is, and we try to really fill voids where there is no real outlet for art, and the library has an ongoing art gallery throughout the year. The concerts outdoors and everything else really is funded through you. You make it possible for us to bring that to our community, so we are forever grateful for that. And with all of the support, it just enriches the lives of so many of our patrons who don't otherwise have an opportunity to bring their families and sit outside and enjoy a night out in our park where they can listen to live music and come. And it's multi-generational. They're with their grandparents, their kids, and their neighbors. And it really is always a nice community event. And you guys have funded our concerts for many years now. And
yes, we have. And you've done some great concerts, too, a real variety of different types of music to appeal to different people and generations and interests. And our regrant program is essential for a lot of the folks that are funded because they don't have a large surplus in which to allocate these kinds of community events. And all of the grant projects have to be open to the public.
Yes.
So, so that, and affordable, generally speaking. And so part of the funding helps them to become affordable, if not even just to make them happen in some instances. And then you can leverage money because if you get a grant from an entity that has somewhat of a reputation, you can go to other private sectors and try to leverage funds on top of that.
So, Mary Beth, the Arts Council is well known as a county agency that manages the Arts Link grant program. Organizations throughout Putnam, including the library, have received the support, like I said. Can you tell us about the program and your role in it?
Certainly. I manage the grants program, which means essentially I'm reaching out to find artists and to meet with local community arts groups to find out what they're up to and to encourage them to apply for a grant. The money and funding that we receive isn't given to us just to distribute. In many ways, the Arts Council is an advocate for the arts. So what we do is we apply for that funding. We're advocating by describing the importance of arts events throughout the county. And so your final reports that you might send to us after you've received funding, telling us about the audience you touched and how beneficial it was to the community, is a way that we can also promote the arts with the state and also with the county. So in many ways, what my work is to be a voice for the community, to reach out to them, to give them also an opportunity to come to us to apply for a grant and to guide them through that grant process. And we hope that we can we would wish we could fund everyone. Of course, the money isn't that extensive, but we do our best to try to spread those funds around. Our goal is to make sure that the grants reach every pocket of Putnam County so that every community has an opportunity to have some kind of arts and cultural program. What I'm aware of with Patterson is that you serve a really important area because there aren't too many opportunities. Though I will add, this year, we did have another application from Hudson Valley InterArts. So that was another location near Patterson. We were thrilled that we were able to fund both you and Hudson Valley InterArts, and they offer diverse opportunities. In their instance, I believe that they were funded to have a tour of the Great Swamp. So it was first an outdoor excursion and then an opportunity to come back and create art. And then, amazingly, it coincided so well with a grant that was also given to Patterson Library, which involved the artist Sharon Nakazato, who was teaching.
Yes.
And the focus, again, was on the Great Swamp. So there was this beautiful connection that we saw happening. And I think that that's our role as an arts council, is to say, oh, we see the connection here. Have you met this person? Does the community know about that? And programs like this podcast are a great opportunity for us and for you to reach listeners and tell them the things that are happening, not only in their own community, but what's happening maybe on the other side of the county. As Joyce used to say to me, you know, if you get somebody to go from Cold Spring to Brewster, they're tourists.
That's how I look at tourism for us here in Putnam County.
I think that's very true. I do. A lot of people have never been to the other side of the county because we're quite a distance from Patterson to Garrison.
Yes.
Even. So, and there is so much throughout the county. So I know the libraries do their passport programs to encourage people to go town to town so that you can visit these other places. Right. But certainly, I agree. I think that's important.
Well, our funding is really for the residents of our community, their tax dollars. And so we look to enrich the lives of our residents first. And if we bring additional people here because our programming is good and marketing has helped, that's an asset. Mm-hmm. But our own people are the first consideration.
That's awesome. So I know when I attend your award ceremony, there are so many wonderful organizations and artists that receive funding, and they all do some amazing projects. But I love how diverse the disciplines are. You cover everything. Mm-hmm. So you want to talk about
That's
a little bit?
So true.
Okay?
That is absolutely true. And we actually work hard to try to encourage, if we feel, when we make our reports, we give a percentage. How many theater programs do we have? How many dance programs? How much visual art? Now, I can say statistically, we're heavy on music. Everyone loves music and concerts, so we do have a lot of opportunities for music. When we see other opportunities where we want to encourage dance, we will really direct people, go see this dance program or this dance group. Currently, we have an offering. It's actually this coming weekend, which is the weekend of the 27th. There will be a free performance of Cold Spring Dance at Chapel Restoration. And Chapel Restoration, if you're, for many of your listeners who might be on Western Putnam or on eastern side of Putnam and might not be as familiar with the western side, this is in Cold Spring. It's right at the Cold Spring train station, so it's easily accessible by train. And they do have good parking there because of that. They also offer free concerts at Chapel Restoration. So we have, this event is happening in dance, but then there's also a music component. I think if you are able, we recommend people check we publish a cultural calendar bi-monthly. It is available to all of our members at the Arts Council, but it's also distributed to libraries. We try to get it out in other ways. It is accessible on our website, putnamartscouncil.com, and you can see what some of the upcoming events are. I know we have some very interesting programs coming up, so I'm figuring by the time people might hear this podcast, they might consider on November, I believe it's November 19th, we have a free presentation. Again, this is a playwrights workshop. It is sponsored by Hudson Valley Shakespeare. It is called the Hudson Valley Bake Off, where they work with local playwrights. They produce short plays. They are acted by members of the company, so the caliber of the performance that they give is excellent. And they offer this to the public. These are the kinds of local cultural treats that we can offer through funding from NYSCA, New York State Council on the Arts, and also our county government.
And it's kind of interesting because it's called a bake-off. So you'd be like, what does that mean? Are they making cookies or cupcakes? But basically, they're given ingredients from which to create their theater
How interesting.
presentation from. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Like all different crazy ingredients, that you wouldn't normally put together. And I think it's a really great idea.
And people are always looking for things to do. And it's wonderful to hear about these different opportunities, and they're free, a lot of them.
Many of them are free.
Yeah.
And those that you do pay for are well worth the price.
Yeah.
It's certainly, I've heard this said on many occasions when I was at Arts on the Lake and someone said they were seeing a performance of High Tour, and they said, now this is incredible, and it's a whole lot cheaper than having to go into Manhattan. And I think sometimes we forget that, it does cost something to put on these productions, but when you do see something in Putnam, I think that there are many opportunities to see really high caliber performances.
Absolutely. I know I have seen the same bands at Arts on the Lake and at Daryl's house and in the city.
Yes, yeah.
So, we're fortunate to have that and yet, be able to see it.
And we partially fund that summer concert series, generally speaking. It's up to a panel. Mary Beth and I don't decide. It's an independent panel that reviews applications.
Yeah, and you do get the high caliber performances, like I said, at these other great venues, and then to see them at these organizations is wonderful. You really make it possible.
I was going to say, sometimes people wonder, where is this panel coming from? And again, the panel comes from the community. We have open outreach. I in fact, remember that I asked you, Lillie, can you recommend someone from the community who loves the arts, who might be an appropriate person to sit on a panel? And yes, she worked out beautifully, and she sat on a panel last year. We're always rotating that panel. We're looking for people. They might be through the local Rotary or from someone through the schools, but we try to get as many people as we can who would like to volunteer to sit on a panel. It involves a certain amount of, you have to review all these proposals. And our last set of proposals was some 27 applications. So it does take some dedication. It takes someone who appreciates the arts. But if they help us, it really is terrific, and they get a chance to audit some of these wonderful shows as well.
So for someone who might be interested, who is eligible to apply, and how would they go about doing so?
Okay. You are eligible to apply if you are a nonprofit organization that is located in Putnam County. You are also eligible to apply, even if you are an artist, if you are sponsored by a Putnam County nonprofit organization. There are some stipulations where you might not be eligible for county funding on some level, and there are some ways in which you might not be eligible for state funding. The details of that we can explain when you meet with us. We do require that you meet with us first to get an understanding of the application process and your eligibility. The guidelines for the grant are available on our website. Again, PutnamArtsCouncil.com. Look under grants and you'll see those guidelines. But you are required to attend an information session, whether you're an old recipient of a grant or a new one. We found we like to stay in touch with our groups. Sometimes there are some changes to grants. This year, interestingly enough, the amount of funds available per organization has increased.
Wow.
In the past, the amount was $5,000 maximum. It has risen to $7,500 maximum for organizations applying. That doesn't mean we can guarantee that we're giving it to you, but we have been actively trying to bring in more funds for the community. So our grant amounts have increased, our funding amounts have increased from years past, so we're hoping that that will continue. There's never any guarantee, and we know that funds are tight, but we're really appreciative of the support that we do receive from the county and from the state, and we know that all of our arts organizations that we work with are active supporters as well, working with us to help to make it known to our elected officials and to the community at large the value of our arts programming.
Sure.
Additionally, the legislature, the Rules and Enactments Committee, first has to approve the county-funded projects that the panel recommends, and then it also goes to the full legislature. The state component is different, but that's how the county is run. So it's a lot of eyes on all the projects. It's a lot of our bookkeeper does all of the financial stuff. So it's really a very serious program, and we try to fund people the most we can, but we also want to fund a lot of people, and we also want to fund, as you mentioned astutely, a lot of disciplines, so that draws the largest audience. And we want to fund throughout the towns in Putnam if we can. So,
you guys do a fantastic job of that, and it's great news to hear that the funding has increased.
I knew you'd like
excited.
that.
Yeah. And I like to get the most out of that money. I actually try to stretch it as far as possible, absorb some of the costs where I can, and really put it to the performers. If I can get
that's the best
3 bands for that same money and then absorb the other costs, the administrative costs and stuff, I much prefer to do that, because I do think the funds are so well spent when we can impact the audience and not the behind the scenes fun.
And it is art funding. So the best thing you can do, of course, marketing is also included, but the best thing that you can do is fund the artists, because it's specific to arts funding. It's not tourism money, it's arts money.
And that's how I see it. I can see we have provided so many opportunities for different age groups from the seniors, and we'll bring them a performance. And it just stretches the money so far when it goes like that. So I'm thrilled to hear
tourism
that.
helps us promote the projects. So it's always my belief that it's our job to make sure good art happens. And it's their job to help us get that message out. And tourism has been very good to us. We work hand in hand with them to get information out. But of course, they can only promote some things outside of the county.
Right.
So it takes a village.
It does.
Yeah.
I know we do extensive marketing, and it's everything from, online marketing to signs, our road sign. If I don't put a flyer up at the post office, somebody calls me out on it. There are 20 different ways we market, and
Absolutely.
we target market, and it takes all of them to get the word out. It really does.
It does. And this podcast is a big help.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
We really appreciate it.
This is one of the newer ways. I love podcasts. I listen to them all the time.
Yay. Yes.
Yeah, it's been successful for us, and we've been really excited to be able to bring this to the community and to the county, and maybe, who knows, maybe across the country. Obviously,
you never
somebody
know.
Listening. We've heard people say, "I heard you," and they, have been all over the place. So it is a way for us to stay current and to let people know what our connection is to the community and what we can bring, and to keep our partnerships alive. I love that we get to talk to so many people that we work with, and so people can learn about you too. So it is a great medium for us. And like I always say, we're lucky to have Adam, because I wouldn't know what to do.
Absolutely. And I had the benefit of taking a class with Adam teaching podcasting to all sorts of community groups at Patterson Library, and I thought it was fantastic. Everybody not only enjoyed it so much, but again, it's that opportunity for us to connect, and we're always looking for ways to connect, and podcasting is a really good way.
Yeah, and I know one of the other people that was at that workshop started his own, and he launched it a couple of weeks ago, and it's terrific.
That's great.
Yeah, so again, kudos. So I know you guys always have exciting exhibits here. Can you tell us what's going on currently and what's coming up?
Sure. This is a show, I think it's about 70 pieces, and it was a theme show that was open to the public to participate. And it's the theme was emotion and color and emotion. So this is, about 60 artists' interpretation of that theme. And there were awards also that were funded through a donor of ours who passed away and left money for the purpose of giving awards to artists at exhibitions, because she was an exhibiting artist also. Yeah, she also left us money to give seniors reduced tuition in painting classes, because she taught painting here. So if you're a member and you're 65 or over, you get a super senior discount. So people could check that out. They're interested. The next show is in October, and it's the annual juried fine art show. And that one has a juror comes in and says, this is in, this isn't. So it's a little more of a competition than the open calls. And that will be happening, right around the corner. So, and then we'll have a small work show in December of affordable art. And then we start next year with maybe 10, 11, or 12 shows.
Nice.
Yeah.
How do you select things? How do you curate your exhibits?
We have a committee who meets, and we try and come up with themes that we think people will be interested in participating, and that will get work in and get artists in, and because an opening is very exciting. People bring their friends and their families, but you want a lot of art in the room. You want to fill the room with people and with art. So we brainstorm. We do some looking on the internet to see what's trending. I mean, I don't, but one of them does. And I have ideas of what I think people have wanted because they've told me at different openings, why don't you do this, Joyce, kind of things. And I try to make note of those requests. And so, we actually don't have any shortage of ideas.
Sure.
It's true. Yeah.
I'm sure. Well, this exhibit is beautiful, as they all are. I've been here several times, and you do really have beautiful displays of work.
Yeah, we have a great committee who hangs the shows, and Carlos Passy is the chairman of our board, and he's also chairs the Installation and Visual Arts Committee, and he has a great eye to put up shows. It's an art form in itself.
Yes. Very much so.
Yeah.
Well, it's a beautiful space, and we're grateful to be here today and to talk to you guys. And this has been wonderful. And I know that you do have the grants. The applications are being accepted now.
Yes, they are. And we have
the deadline.
The deadline is December 5th. But so you do have time. If someone is unable to make, we have virtual meetings this week. Which might not be broadcast on your podcast, but we do have next Tuesday, the 30th of September, and Wednesday, October 1st. We have on-site meetings here at the Arts Council, so you can possibly participate in that if you're interested. Also, if for some reason you hear this podcast and the events are over, give us a call anyhow. If you have something that you want to submit and you'd like to apply, we're very open. We can meet personally. We can give you guidelines, and you can apply.
That's great news. I know you guys have been really flexible with us in the past, and we really appreciate that. And I am looking forward to proposing our next project.
I know you are.
I can't wait. And we try to get creative and think differently and outside the box. So I'm working on a couple of ideas.
I would have to say you have no loss of ideas either. You have always put in a great application. We always say, oh my gosh, this sounds so interesting,
Yeah.
So you have tons of ideas yourself. So
and
congratulations.
And we appreciate how you stretch a dollar.
Yes.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
That's the fun part for me.
Yeah.
Again, it's getting the most bang for the buck. Yeah. I think it's important.
Definitely.
Well, we really appreciate you guys, and thank you again for being on.
Thank you for having us.
you.
We appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely.
Thank you. This podcast was recorded at the Belle Levine Putnam Arts Council home in Mahopac, New York. Special thanks to our sound engineer, producer, and composer, Adam Bernier, our library director, Stephanie Harrison, and our board of trustees, and to you, our listeners. I'm your host, Lillie Musenti. We'll see you next time on the Patterson Library Connection. The Patterson Library trustees and staff do not promote nor endorse the opinions of our guests.